Alright, so in this video we're going to continue on the command line interface. So, last time we already talked about help. So HELP gets you through, gives you a list of commands. You can also type help and then a specific command like help ipconfig. Oh, helps if you spell it right. And in this case, it doesn't actually help. It says this command is not supported by the help utility. Try ipconfig / question mark, which was actually going to be my next part. So if help doesn't work, you can always try that / question mark. All right, and that will spit out a whole bunch of information for that as well. So help and that / question mark are both kind of one and the same thing. So if one doesn't work, try the other one, and the program or command line even informs you of that, which is rather nice. Now, sometimes you may want to save the output of a command for a later point in time. That could be 5 minutes down the road. It could be 12 hours down the road. It really depends on the situation that you're in. And sometimes you'll want it just to be nice, simple, and short and sweet, just like one little brief thing. And sometimes you'll want to constantly be updating that file. All right. So the first we're going to talk about, I'm going to call it the greater than sign. That thing, the little triangle pointing to the greater side on the left, not the right. It happens to be right here at the very left of the command line as well, right there. All right. So, just a single one of those is going to create a new file or replace an existing file. All right. So first thing, we talked about CD last time, so I'm going to go and CD to my downloads. All right. And I should have a file in here called listing.txt. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Notepad. And I'm going to type in listing.txt. And that will pop up. And right now, all I have in there is the letter T. All right. And again, me putting T in there was just to keep this short and sweet. So if you had some crazy things, so I could do ipconfig. I'm going to actually do that whole / question mark, and then I'm going to say to listing.txt, and hit enter. Now you'll notice nothing on the screen showed up, but if we go back to that listing file, everything from that command got pushed into this file. All right. And if I were to do that again, but this time we're just going to say echo, which just responds with, sends that whatever to something. So you could, if you wanted to print something on the screen or into a file like the date or something, that would be what you could do. And I'm going to do that same thing, listing.txt. And again, if I open up that file, now it's just the letter T. All right. So again, this would be great for one-day use. If every time you run something, you want a specific file generated based on the date or time or something along those. Or if you don't want to have a file that gets super duper long, great option for this. If you want to add things or append information to a file, that would be a double one of those. So if I would go ahead and do my little echo, where is that echo T? What if I did a double greater than sign, and then I open up again my Notepad, you'll see now we have two T's with new lines on them. So very nice little simple thing. And we could, you could do whatever you wanted with this. We could do that ipconfig, and we could throw a double one onto that now. And now you'll see all that information's there. And if we do it again, now all that information there should be there twice. Oh, I just echoed a T again. Sorry, I wanted to echo the whole thing. There we go. Now you'll see that whole thing's there twice. All right. This is great for log files. So if you have a script or something that's running that you always want to make sure that you're able to go back and double check to make sure all the information that's in there is correct, great use for this. All right. Maybe you want a log file by day, maybe you want it by month, those types of things. You have those capabilities to pick which option it is that you want. Personally, I think having a new log file every day gets a little bit excessive with having lots of log files, especially if you're only going to put like 10, maybe 20 lines in a log file. That gets kind of annoying. Now, if you're going to have like 300 lines in a log file, maybe every day is the better choice there. But then you have to manage all those log files. Personally, my log files that I've created don't normally have that much in them, so I do a log file every month, and the first thing I Now let me try that again. First thing I put in the new log each day is the date, so that way I can differentiate. Sometimes I'll also put a long string of random characters, pound signs, percent signs, at signs, whatever it is. So that way, again, it helps differentiate. I can just go straight across and go, I would just do that echo command, but instead of one, I would just go, I would just put a whole bunch of those in, and then I could do my IP config, and that way you could scroll down, and be like, oh, there's a new day, and you could very easily find that information. So that's one use, or one thing that we can do, especially when you're dealing with log files and scripts that you're running by yourself. It's like, okay, is this working properly? Let's put it to a log file, especially since a lot of times scripts you're not watching run live. So in those situations, you're not going to see the text output of whatever's happening on the screen. So very important type of thing. Now, a command the book doesn't talk about is CLS. I often find that all of this stuff up here starts getting annoying, starts getting a little overkill. So CLS will clear the screen, so it just gets all your old stuff off. Especially when you're just playing around with stuff, trying to get rid of everything on your screen may help. Especially when you have like a help command that just spits out tons of information. That is short in the long run for me. I've had stuff that puts out lots more than that. You're like 200-300 rungs. You're like, oh my god. Then you try to scroll up and find something and you can't because you just have so much stuff in there. Clear your screen, run your little short script again, and see what it says. So, very useful thing. Now, another useful item is the pipe command, or the pipe bar symbol, character. That's the word I'm looking for, character. All right, it is up there with the black backsplash between backspace and enter. So if you hold shift and hit it, that little just vertical line there, that is the pipe character. All right, and this will allow you to send the output of one program to another program, or one command to another command. And the book uses this wonderful example right here. All right. The directory command of the Windows folder in the C drive, which if we get rid of all of this, as you can see, there is a lot going in there. It's kind of like looking at my downloads folder. There's just a lot of directories, a lot of files in there. All right. Well, you're looking for one specific file, or one file that contains something. So instead of typing all of that in, we can add the pipe command, which will take the output and limit it. So we could say, in this case, find string /i setup. All right. So in this case, it says, hey, there are these 4 items: com setup.log, setup act.log, and setup upper.log, or something like that. I'm not really sure. Setup error. There we go. So that we can pipe information to that. Now, in this case, again, it's kind of annoying having to scroll through all of this, especially sometimes when you get super long and you can't scroll up enough because of whatever situation. Something that you might do is that pipe command and then just more. And what that does is it basically fills your window. So notice it start with volume in drive C as no label, volume serial number, directory, blah, 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 blah. And now it says more. And what we can do is hit space, and it will put up another screen of information there. All right. So again, globalization is our top one, progress.ini, hit space again. And right now we're at provisions, right above provisions, progress.ini. So this allows you to see one screen at a time of information without having to manually kind of do other things. So that more command is very useful. It just kind of limits you down to what you're looking at. All right. And again, CLS for clear screen is what it is. I think just clear would work, but clear is not an internal or external command that is recognizable. Now, you do need to be careful here with these spaces. So let me go ahead and change to the Windows drive. Nope. Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm in Windows now. Well, if I want to change back to my previous location of downloads, all right, and let me go ahead and copy this and paste it and get rid of that last bit. That actually got me there. Sometimes having spaces and folder names and files and things like that wreak havoc on command line interfaces because they see this space as a new command or the next option or something along those lines. So you just need to be careful about having spaces. This is something that a lot of systems have problems with, and they really don't like having spaces and folders and file names. And some, like Linux systems, won't even let you do it because they go, nope, that's just going to wreak havoc. It's going to cause problems later on, so we're not doing it. One solution to that would have been, if I needed to put little quotes around this. So just, a little double quote right there, and that's telling it everything in here is one command. All right. And so the space character is kind of a funky character, which gets really annoying over time. So best habit really is to try to avoid having spaces and file names and things like that. You can use underscores. So instead of having Greg Betts, it could be Greg _ Betts. You could also have Greg, capital G-R-E-G, lower, and then a capital B again, with that capital being representing the next word. So that way it is a visual way for you to see where the change of words are. Very helpful thing there, especially if you try to put like symbols in it, if that's even possible. Not sure it is. Don't put symbols in your words, or put very specific ones. Like you can't use backslashes, but you can use hyphens. All right, so just something to think about there. Now, your book's going to talk about opening up command prompt. Obviously, there's a bunch of ways to do it. All right, you could open up from the start menu. As I referenced in my last video, I always type CMD and I hit enter. All right. You could type Windows V, I believe it is. Windows V, nope. Anyway, you can right click on the menu, or you can't. All right. By default, Windows has put Windows PowerShell here in what I think the book calls the Power Users menu. We can go ahead and change that back to something that is more useful for us. So if we go ahead and right click on our start bar, and basically anywhere, there is a blank spot, so right between these I can get. Let's go to Taskbar Settings. Let me bring that screen over for you guys. There we go. And there's a little checkbox that says replace command prompt with Windows PowerShell in the menu when I right click the start button or press the Windows X key. All right. So all you have to do is uncheck that, and Windows and command prompt will be here now. Now I did mention in the last video that the admin, parenthesis admin, or running as administrator, might give you some extra capabilities and might put you in a little bit of a bad spot if you accidentally type something, because it's giving you more privileges, so you might want to avoid that. There will be certain commands that we will be using this semester that will require you to use that. All right. If this is something that freaks you out, come use a computer on campus. We have some hard drives that have Windows installed on them just for you guys, so that way you don't have to worry about screwing up your personal computers. So if that's something you are worried about, please come find me. The other thing that you might want to do is also, which we have talked about, I think in this class, is setting up system restore. So create a restore point. So that way if you do screw something up on your computer, you can go back in time before that little screw up, hopefully, and everything should be safe. Keyword there being should. So I highly suggest that you guys do turn on system restore, give yourself some hard drive space. I only have 11 gigs on my hard drive, 240 gig hard drives. I don't have that much space. All right. So I don't have that much space, and you will notice that I only have one specific restore point. So I only can go back in time once. If you give yourself more space, you can have more restore points, which is probably worth doing. So something I highly suggest that you guys configure and work with. So admin access. So again, you can either, if you come to it from the command menu, you can right click on this and it says run as an administrator. You can do that with basically any file. I mean, even if I just minimize all of this stuff, if I just right click on this handbrake, right click, there is a run as administrator. Let's go to OBS Studio. There we go. Run as administrator. That's one that you guys can actually see on the screen. So that is something that you will be needing to do. It may be worth pinning the command module or command prompt to your start menu. So as you can see, I now have a link down here on my computer because this will be something that you might be using throughout this semester. So instead of having to go find it all the time, you can just have it right there. So just something that might be worth doing for yourself. There is also the Appendix B command line utilities in the back of your book. That might be something worth looking into. You should have done that last week, but maybe you didn't. So just thoughts that I'm having. And the last thing I want to point out is we've talked about how Windows will start looking for, if you type something in here, as you guys noticed, I typed a notepad, just N-O-T-E-P-A-D. Helps if I spell it right. And Windows Notepad launches. So Windows is looking for programs in specific search paths, which we're going to talk about in the next video, for files or for programs that it should run. So Explorer is another one that it should find by default, and you guys didn't see it, but it did open up a new window for me. Let's see if I do it again where that pops up right there. Now, those are both programs that come built into Windows. You can also have it look for in specific places for programs that aren't built into Windows. So when I installed PuTTY on this computer, it added that to that environmental path. So if I type in PuTTY, it will bring up PuTTY for me. So I can connect to my SSH stuff or serial port telnet, whatever the case is there. So this isn't limited to just programs that Windows has. We can get it so it is finding your other programs. Now, if you're trying to find something that isn't pre-installed, or isn't in one of those search paths, you can specify exactly what it is that you want to open up. So if I do go to that Windows folder / program files, oh, okay. Anyway, if I go to that Windows folder, Windows, type out dir so we can find exactly, I forget what. Oh wait, no, I don't want to be in Windows. I just want to be on the C drive. Oh, CD, dir, there we go. Program files. Yep, and now CD Notepad++. All right, so now if I come in here, you can see I have a Notepad++ exe, so I should be able to now just type, come on, not what I want, Notepad++, and again, you guys didn't see it, but it did open over there on my other screens. Let's go ahead and do that again now that I've moved it. So as long as you're in the right folder, you can run those exe files. If you want to be able to do that without having to be in the right folder, that will be the next video. See you guys then.